Hello, this is Pharaoh Vincent with Nation 1111. Today I am actually going to be looking at Nation Duels finally. I have been avoiding making a video on this because, quite frankly, the event confuses and angers me. So what do I mean by that? Part of Nation Duel is essentially you have two phases. Phase one is the normal opponent. This is where you're going to go in and you're going to face a series of attacks. We'll talk a lot about this and how this works. Part two is once a day for the last hour before reset. Your city will eventually be paired up against another city and your formations will attack. When it comes to the elite battle, this is what that's referred to as in the event, the person with the highest points is the attacker. So in this case, Mookie will be attacking me. For that reason, with elite battles, you can go in. There's this little helmet down here in the bottom left corner. When you click on that helmet, you will be able to adjust your troops. And so I have gone with an axe heavy troop type simply because that seems to be working a little bit better. Plus I like axes on defense, so there's that. I briefly want to touch on some of this stuff where it comes from in the rules, because we really need to talk a lot about normal enemy. Normal enemy, it even says in the rules that the system troops, which commanders can redeploy system troops as their deployment troops. So basically any of the troops that the system gives you will not inherit the commander's Titan, warplane, officers, and other technology bonuses. So it seems like the stats gained here are not at all tied to the stats you gain on your city. So it's a little weird. The whole thing just feels odd. How it pairs you, what you fight against, it's a little different. And we'll talk a little bit about fortification. But I just wanted to bring the rules kind of to the forefront. And again, right here, you will see the commander troops will be locked and effectively battle. I'm trying to find that spot that says the whole comment about oh yeah, there we go. It's the side with the higher individual points is the attacker. So it's right there, kind of in the midpoint where my mouse cursor is. So this is weird. All right, so let's talk ironically about elite first and then go backwards. So again, you can change your formation. It will automatically set to whatever you do as your challenge. So when you're done with your challenge, you'll go back in. You can also see your opponent's previous battle as well as their statistics as of that battle. But that's not going to tell you, kind of like Royal Arena, what they're going to be on the day you fight them. And so you can get an idea of how good or bad you're going to do. In my case, I'm not expecting to win because, well, I don't exactly have the best of stats. You can see here he fought somebody relatively equal, but looks like they had better giant weapon upgrades, so I'm assuming their Titans won this battle. You can, of course, play the video replay of the thing you weren't in. And we'll talk about why this is a not great formation in about 5 seconds, but you get the point. Heck, anyone who knows of a single cannon formation like this kind of already understands why these formations don't always work. And it just comes down to protecting your Titans. So what is a good formation? You do need some filler troops. And the idea is you want enough to, because you're set to 400,000 plus 50,000 zombies. So 450,000 is kind of a set number. your goal is to get enough troops to kind of fill all the slots. And I recommend to fill about 1,000 to 1,500, depending on, how strong your opponents generally are. And then I'm putting a fill for my back row of 2,000, with the exception of going cannon and EMP cannon heavy. And we're going to talk a lot about this. So fair warning, guys, I have things I've noticed, and we're going to talk about what they seem to be. So yeah, that is a large part of it. Now, when it comes to the normal battles, you will click on this. I don't feel like spending more gold. It'll ask you if you want to apply buffs. It seems like it's okay to apply buffs, although sometimes you can get kind of screwed over by the system. It's really annoying. And then you're going to have various battles. And I'm going to start with my first battle of the day. So my formation that I initially was going with was T13 heavy. Right? And so you can see here, I have my T13 tanks, my T13 cannons. It is T13 heavy. And it does pretty good. All things considering, this formation does pretty okay. How this works is you start off fighting one enemy, and then every few seconds, they're going to be gaining reinforcements. And it seems like it's every 5 seconds or so, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's every 5 seconds. So every 5 seconds, they're gaining reinforcements, and then essentially you're going to kill until you die. Right? You can see there that I got my score. I want to pay attention to this number here. It's 33,956. I started playing with this because I noticed a few trends. So as my day went on, right, because 33,956, 33,956, right? So my first 2 attempts were that. 38,000. That was weird because, again, that other one has almost all T13s. And if you look at this, I'm not adding more. I have 50,000, not 53,000. I have 6,000 of these and less tanks and shredders. And so we keep going up. So I've got 38,000 there, another 38,000 there. And then we get to 37,000. So this was a step in the wrong direction, right? And in this case, I have a lot more tanks on this composition than I do shredders and EMPs. And then we get to my final one, which is 43,343. And what I did on this one is actually a lot less tanks and shredders, but I put in a ton of these EMP cannons. And they seem to be giving BP out of proportion to what it is that you would expect. So they're giving a larger share of BP than what they should be, given the actual BP on troop tiers for both the EMPs and the cannons, right? Like, these are higher. But as you can see, it performs better overall, and yet I'm using worse troops. So I say this with a grain of salt. As you're setting up your fleets, right? These, and if I get rid of all of this, if I were just doing EMP cannons for my max fleet, we're looking at 7,648,000, right? And then when I do that, it's 7,116,000 or 164,000, right? So it is higher on this screen, but I'm noticing that when I attack, it does not seem to hold up, right? And actually, we're just going to spend 1,000 gold to show you guys. So we're literally just going to do this for 2 attacks. So there's one. Oh, we're not on the attack screen. Just kidding. But actually, this shows you here too, right? Here's 8,474,000. That matches there. Okay, so that doesn't do it there. So we're going to do some attacks. Ready? We'll keep going, and we're just going to attack with just that. And then we're going to change this up. By the way, this event is super glitchy. And then we'll do that. And now just looking at these two, right? Here we're sitting at 34,205,000 BP. This one is sitting at 62,365,000 BP. So it seems to me like the EMPs are giving disproportionately high BP for what it is that they should be. And that is causing an increase of kills. I guess in this case it didn't really net to anything, but it is causing it to change how those battles are playing out. So yeah, something to consider. Like the BP in this is weird. How that is all set up is just strange to me. So we're just going to need to figure that out at some point. I don't know. My pro tips for you, use more EMP cannons, and most likely the Havoc Dominators are performing similarly, which is why I think mid-range cities seem to be doing generally better than long-range cities, right? Morgoth and DKM are not that close, right? Like, you know, we're looking at 300 and, well, for the event, 3,122 MRA versus the 4,032 or 4,030 MRA or LRA. So like you can see it's not quite adding up to what you would expect it to be to. So yeah, about that. A little weird. Anyways, that is the video. That is the big thing to note. The only other things really about the event that do come up is, of course, these buffs. You do, for the whales and things of that nature, you want to get your level 4 to level 5 buffs. I believe level 4 is max, actually. And you can see here the space laser, which is annoyingly broken. But these buffs come from the Fortify. And when you click on Get More, you can spend these little coins to get more. Once you get enough of these, you can fuse them together if you have some to create these higher level tiers. So for instance, I have this level 4 Fortify right there. You can see here that there are, like level 2, level 3, and these all level up respectively to what it is that you gain. Every single day you can keep up to 6 buffs. So for non-spenders, ideally you stay around 6, which I have so far this event. So that way I can keep all my buffs between events. Whereas like Morgoth, he's going to have to pick, and obviously when he is picking, he can only take 6. So that means that several of these may go away. I don't know if that pick amount increases if you spend. I actually haven't seen anything that lets you do that, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Right? Right. And yeah, that's basically the long and short of this event. So in general, it works weird. It's certainly not one that makes a lot of sense to me. Like I said, the EMPs are definitely giving disproportionately high BP. And so it almost seems like all of the BP on the troops is normalized between tiers. And with that in mind, then that means your EMP cannons for long range cities should be your strongest unit. So, all my pro tips to you. As always, I appreciate you, tuning into these videos. Like, comment, subscribe, really helps the channel out a lot. Share within your nation, and of course, consider supporting me on Patreon if you do not mind doing so. I'll see you on the